For me, it was frightening on a couple of levels because I've never, in all the time that I've been coming to London and to...
For many years, the world saw the friendship between Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. as something simple. On stage, they laughed together, sang together, and entertained millions of fans around the world. They were part of the legendary Rat Pack, a group of performers who dominated Las Vegas during the late 1950s and early 1960s. To the public, their bond looked like nothing more than the friendship of talented entertainers who enjoyed performing together. But behind the bright lights of casinos and the glamorous life of show business, their relationship carried a much deeper meaning. Sammy Davis Jr. was not just another performer trying to make it in the music industry. As a black entertainer during a time of intense racial discrimination in America, he faced barriers that many of his fellow stars never had to experience. Hotels refused to let him stay overnight. Restaurants sometimes refused to serve him. Even theaters where he performed sometimes treated him as an outsider. In this difficult world, Frank Sinatra became more than a colleague. He became a powerful ally. Sinatra was one of the most influential entertainers in America, and he often used that influence to protect Sammy and support him when others tried to push him aside. Their friendship was built on loyalty, respect, and shared struggles within the entertainment industry. For decades, fans wondered just how deep that bond truly went. Many believed Sinatra quietly protected Sammy from the harsh realities of racism and discrimination. In the final years of his life, Sinatra reportedly confirmed what many had long suspected, that his friendship with Sammy Davis Jr. was not just about music or fame, but about standing beside someone who needed support in a world that often treated him unfairly. The story of their friendship began long before the bright lights of Las Vegas made them famous. In 1941, a young Frank Sinatra was performing as the lead singer for the orchestra of Tommy Dorsey. At the time, Sinatra was only in his mid-20s and was still building the career that would later make him one of the biggest stars in the world. That same year, a teenage performer named Sammy Davis Jr. was traveling with the Wilmaston Trio, a family performance group that had been entertaining audiences across the country. Sammy had already spent most of his childhood on stage. Even though he was only 15 years old, he had already learned how to sing, dance, and perform impressions of other famous singers. When the two performers first met backstage in Detroit, neither could have predicted how important that moment would become. At first, their meeting was casual. They spoke briefly between performances and went their separate ways as their touring schedules took them across different cities. But something about that early introduction stayed with both of them. Over the next few years, they would occasionally cross paths again while working in the entertainment world. Each meeting strengthened the quiet respect they had for one another. Sinatra admired Sammy's incredible talent and stage presence, while Sammy admired Sinatra's confidence and growing influence in the music industry. Their connection grew slowly and naturally, not through fame or publicity, but through shared experiences as performers trying to succeed in a competitive world. These early encounters helped lay the foundation for a friendship that would eventually become one of the most famous partnerships in entertainment history. As the 1940s continued, Frank Sinatra began to gain more power in the entertainment world. His smooth voice and emotional singing style quickly made him one of the most popular performers in America. Meanwhile, Sammy Davis Jr. was still performing mostly as part of the Wilmaston Trio. Sammy had incredible talent, but he was often known mainly for his ability to imitate other singers and entertainers. Audiences loved watching him copy the voices and styles of famous stars. However, Sinatra believed Sammy was capable of much more than simple impressions. When the two performers met again in the late 1940s, Sinatra encouraged Sammy to develop his own identity as a singer. Instead of hiding behind impressions, Sinatra wanted him to sing in his own voice and show audiences who he really was as an artist. This advice proved to be extremely important for Sammy's future career. Sinatra even used his growing influence to help Sammy gain more opportunities. In 1947, when Sinatra was preparing for a major performance at the Capitol Theater in New York, he personally asked the theater managers to invite the Wilmaston Trio to perform as the opening act. This was a major opportunity for Sammy and his group. Performing alongside a rising star like Sinatra gave them greater exposure and helped introduce Sammy's talent to a larger audience. Sinatra's support showed that their friendship was more than casual. He truly believed in Sammy's potential and wanted to help him succeed in an industry that often made things much harder for black performers. During the 1940s and 1950s, racial discrimination was still a powerful force in many parts of the United States. For Sammy Davis Jr., this meant that even as he became more successful, he still faced humiliating treatment in many places. Some hotels refused to let him stay overnight, even when he was performing in their theaters. Restaurants sometimes denied him service, and certain clubs did not allow him to enter through the front door. One famous incident occurred at the legendary Copacabana nightclub in New York City. Sammy had come to watch Frank Sinatra perform, but when he arrived at the entrance, he was turned away because of the color of his skin. For Sammy, moments like this were painful reminders that success and talent did not always protect him from racism. When Sinatra heard about what had happened, he became furious. He immediately made sure that Sammy was invited back the following night and personally guaranteed that he would be allowed inside the club. Sinatra did not simply ignore these situations or pretend they did not exist. Instead, he used his influence to challenge unfair treatment whenever he could. While many other entertainers avoided controversial issues, Sinatra believed that loyalty to his friends was more important than keeping everyone happy. His actions showed Sammy that he was not alone in facing these challenges. For Sammy, having a powerful friend who was willing to stand up for him made a huge difference during a time when discrimination was still deeply rooted in American society. In 1954, tragedy struck when Sammy Davis Jr. was involved in a serious car accident while driving from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. The crash left him badly injured, with multiple broken bones and severe damage to his face. One of the most devastating injuries was to his left eye, which doctors eventually had to remove and replace with an artificial eye. At the time, many people feared that Sammy's career might be over. In the entertainment industry, appearance often played a major role in a performer's success, and such a serious injury could have ended his time on stage forever. During this painful period, Frank Sinatra once again proved how important their friendship truly was. Instead of simply offering words of encouragement, Sinatra took real action to support his friend. He helped pay for Sammy's medical expenses and made sure that he had a safe place to recover while he healed from the accident. Sinatra also continued to speak positively about Sammy's talent and future, reassuring people in the entertainment world that Sammy would return to the stage. This support gave Sammy the strength and confidence he needed during one of the darkest moments of his life. Just a few months after the accident, Sammy returned to performing, showing audiences that his determination and passion for entertainment were stronger than ever. His comeback became one of the most inspiring moments in his career. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, the friendship between Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. had become part of one of the most famous entertainment groups in history. Along with stars like Dean Martin and Peter Lawford, they formed the legendary Rat Pack. Their performances at the Sands Hotel and Casino became some of the most talked about shows in Las Vegas. The Rat Pack's performances combined music, comedy, and improvisation. Each show felt unique, as the performers joked with each other and interacted with the audience in ways that felt spontaneous and exciting. Sammy Davis Jr. quickly became one of the most energetic and talented members of the group. His ability to sing, dance, and entertain audiences made him stand out even among such famous performers. However, despite the success of the Rat Pack, the issue of racial discrimination had not completely disappeared. In some casinos, Sammy was still not allowed to stay overnight in the same hotel where he performed. Once again, Sinatra stepped in to challenge these unfair rules. He refused to perform at certain venues unless Sammy was treated equally. Over time, this pressure helped push casinos in Las Vegas to begin changing their policies. Slowly but surely, the entertainment industry began to move toward greater equality. The relationship between Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. lasted for decades, surviving changes in the entertainment industry and the ups and downs of their personal lives. While they sometimes disagreed or followed different paths in their careers, their bond remained strong. Sinatra often referred to Sammy as one of the most talented performers he had ever seen. Sammy, in return, frequently spoke about how much Sinatra's support had meant to him throughout his life. Their friendship symbolized something important during a time when racial divisions were still very strong in American society. Sinatra's willingness to stand beside Sammy showed that true loyalty was more powerful than prejudice. Many fans believe that in his later years, Sinatra openly acknowledged how important it had been for him to support Sammy during those difficult times. Their friendship was not just about performing together or sharing the spotlight. It represented a deeper commitment to standing up for one another when it mattered most. Even today, their story remains a powerful example of how friendship, respect, and courage can help break down barriers that once seemed impossible to overcome. During the peak of their careers, Frank Sinatra had enormous influence in the entertainment world. His name alone could sell out theaters, nightclubs, and concert halls across the United States. But what made Sinatra stand out from many other stars of his time was how he used that influence. Instead of simply protecting his own career, he often used his power to help his friends, especially Sammy Davis Jr. During the 1950s, many venues in America still practiced segregation. This meant that black performers could appear on stage but were sometimes not allowed to stay in the same hotels or use the same facilities as white performers. Sammy often faced these humiliating situations while touring. However, Sinatra refused to accept these rules quietly. On several occasions, he threatened to cancel performances if Sammy was not treated fairly. In Las Vegas, this kind of pressure carried serious weight. Casino owners depended heavily on Sinatra's shows to bring in wealthy guests and celebrities. When Sinatra made it clear that he would not perform unless Sammy was treated as an equal, many venues were forced to reconsider their policies. This did not end discrimination overnight, but it helped start important changes in the entertainment industry. Sinatra also spoke openly about equality in interviews and public appearances. Years earlier, he had starred in the short film The House I Live In, which encouraged young people not to judge others based on religion, race, or background. This message reflected the same values that guided his friendship with Sammy. For Sinatra, standing up for Sammy was not a publicity stunt. It was simply the right thing to do. While Frank Sinatra often helped open doors, Sammy Davis Jr. still had to prove himself every time he stepped onto the stage. Fortunately, Sammy possessed extraordinary talent. He was not only a singer but also a dancer, comedian, and actor. Few entertainers in history have demonstrated such a wide range of abilities. When audiences watched Sammy perform, they saw someone who could move effortlessly between different styles of entertainment. One moment he might be singing a smooth jazz ballad, and the next moment he could be dancing with incredible energy across the stage. His performances were filled with passion, humor, and excitement. Sammy also appeared in several films and television shows, expanding his career beyond music. One of his most memorable film roles came in the movie Ocean's 11, where he starred alongside Sinatra and other members of the Rat Pack. The film captured the charm and playful spirit of their real-life friendship. Despite his incredible success, Sammy never forgot how difficult his journey had been. Many times, he had been forced to work twice as hard as other performers just to receive the same recognition. But instead of allowing bitterness to control him, Sammy chose to focus on entertaining people and bringing joy to audiences everywhere. His ability to overcome obstacles made him one of the most respected entertainers of his generation. With Sinatra standing beside him as both friend and supporter, Sammy's career continued to grow, eventually making him one of the most famous performers in American entertainment history. As the years passed, both Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. experienced many changes in their lives and careers. The entertainment industry was evolving, and the style of music that had once made them famous was slowly giving way to new trends. Younger audiences began to focus on rock and roll artists, while television started to change how people experienced entertainment. Despite these changes, both Sinatra and Sammy continued to perform and remain active in show business. Their friendship also faced occasional difficulties. Like many close relationships, they sometimes disagreed about politics or personal decisions. one of the most controversial moments came when Sammy publicly supported political figures that Sinatra did not always agree with. These differences created tension between them at times. However, the deep respect they had for each other usually allowed them to overcome these disagreements. Their shared history and the struggles they had faced together were stronger than temporary conflicts. Both men understood how rare their friendship was in an industry that often encouraged competition instead of loyalty. Even when their careers moved in slightly different directions, they remained connected by the experiences that had shaped their lives. Over time, the public began to see them not just as entertainers but as symbols of a unique era in American entertainment history. When Sammy Davis Jr. passed away in 1990 after battling illness, many people in the entertainment world mourned deeply. For Frank Sinatra, the loss was especially painful. Sammy had been more than just a fellow performer, he had been a loyal friend for nearly 50 years. In interviews and private conversations during his later years, Sinatra reportedly reflected on how important that friendship had been. He spoke about Sammy's courage, talent, and determination to succeed in a world that had often treated him unfairly. According to people close to Sinatra, he admitted that he had always felt a strong responsibility to protect Sammy whenever possible. Sinatra understood that his own fame and influence allowed him to challenge discrimination in ways that Sammy sometimes could not. Looking back on their shared experiences, Sinatra acknowledged that their friendship had been about much more than music or business. It had been about loyalty and standing up for what was right. Many fans believe that these reflections confirmed what people had long suspected, that Sinatra had quietly acted as a shield for Sammy during some of the most difficult moments of his career. While Sinatra rarely spoke dramatically about these things in public, those who knew him understood how deeply he valued his friendship with Sammy. Today, the story of Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. continues to inspire fans around the world. Their friendship represents more than just the history of two famous entertainers. It also reflects an important chapter in the struggle for equality in the entertainment industry. During a time when racism and discrimination were still widespread, Sinatra used his influence to support his friend and challenge unfair treatment. Sammy, in turn, showed incredible strength and determination as he built a legendary career despite the obstacles placed in his path. Together, they helped change the culture of show business and open doors for future generations of performers. The legacy of the Rat Pack remains a symbol of a unique moment in entertainment history, when music, comedy, and friendship came together on stage in unforgettable performances. But behind the jokes and glamorous image, there was a deeper story about loyalty, courage, and respect. The bond between Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. reminds us that true friendship is not only about sharing success but also about standing beside someone when the world turns against them. Even decades later, their story continues to be remembered as one of the most powerful friendships ever seen in the world of entertainment. Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates just like this.